All right, guys, welcome. Happy Monday, and fantasy football is in full force. Welcome to the show, guys. Excited today. We are talking about early fantasy football sleepers, and it's never too early. We go year round here on the number one fantasy football podcast. Welcome to the show, guys. Going to be opening up the comments here. Brian French says, what is up? Guys, I'm going to try to do this like during the season. I want to do every morning. I want to make this a normal show on top of my regular content. So I'm just going to give myself more work to do. But I think I like the live aspect to this. Totally more interactive, totally more real, to give you guys a morning show is what I'm all about. Because I love doing this anyway. And it gives you guys something to do in the morning. And it's just super exciting. So very, very important, guys. I'm going to be, again, taking extra time to do this for you guys, giving you that, direct live here. So it's very important. Make sure you guys turn on that bell. Turning on the bell is the most important thing you could do, guys. Obviously, subscribing. I know a lot of people watch the videos. When I look at the analytics, 70% plus have not subscribed. They just come across this video in the algorithm and they haven't subscribed. So very important, guys. Hit subscribe. It's very important to the channel, and turn on that bell so you don't miss anything. So good morning to Henry. What is going on? Henry Jolly. Jolie, is it? That's awesome. I like that. He's jolly today. Henry Jolly's in the house. Josh Perez. Too early rankings talk. What's up, Josh? Looking good in the profile. Looks serious. That looks like a serious headshot, man. You're ready for some action there, man. Ready to play some fantasy by the looks of it. So, guys, I'm excited to dive into some live talk about some early sleepers. One of the things I do to identify sleepers, guys, I really look for that value where I pull up the consensus, the Sheeps' charts, and I start working off that, because then I'm able to see, which I'm going to pull it up in a second here. I'm able to see the BS. I'm able to see how much value there is. And at one point in the show, I'm going to go over a sleeper I really like at each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. I'm going to give you guys one sleeper for each that I really, really like as we get into that, okay? I just want to talk a little bit about the news here real quickly. Nothing that really jumps out at me other than, I'm hearing a lot of talk that Caleb Williams and some of these quarterbacks and prospects aren't going to be throwing at the combine. They're not going to be throwing at some of these talent shows that they have here to scout out players prior to the draft, because I guess they're so established. If you're going first top 5 picks, you don't want to tweak your arm or something like that. So again, a lot of these guys, you're just not going to be throwing, in this off season a little bit. So we don't get to see much from them. And, some of these guys have already secured their position, right, where they're going to be drafted. So in the NFL, that is. So not a lot of these guys throwing. Other than that, Cam Newton got into a scrap. I want to mention that Cam Newton's scrapping. And when it comes to Cam Newton, man, I think he got jumped, by 4 dudes. He held himself together. I think he had he had one of those Wicked Witch of the West hats from Wizard of Oz, and that managed to stay on during the scuffle. So props to Cam Newton. Although, why didn't you put that much effort in the Super Bowl when there was a fumble and you couldn't jump on the ball? That's something that I still don't understand. But either way, Cam Newton getting jumped, I don't even know what the event was, but he was out there, got jumped by 4 dudes, held his own. Either way, not much going on in the news. When you see something like that going on, you're like, hey, man, that's a sound bite. And I posted it, got over 50,000 views on my Instagram organically. Pretty wild. So, all right, guys, let's get to some sleepers here. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys do subscribe, turn on the bell. Again, that is very important. We're doing a live show moving forward. Now, again, a little bit in the offseason, I'll kind of be spreading it out. But as we get into the season, we're definitely going to be doing this morning show on top of my regular content, So I'm excited to dive into it. So let's pull up just Notorious TBG says Cam Newton is a big guy. Hey, it's the BIG. I remember Notorious. Yeah, great times, man, when that guy was singing, man. I miss those days. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. I'm not going to sing. No, bad. Very, very corny. All right, good song, though, man. I miss those times. Biggie Smalls in the house. All right, let's go through this, man. Let's go through. Just take a look at some of these rankings. I'm going to pull it up here on the overall here. Now, again, the only reason I look at this is to know what not to do when I look at rankings, okay? This is just a guideline because the way that the consensus and the cheapest rankings are is the way that you're going to be seeing them on ADP in your draft application, whatever you use, whether it be Yahoo, ESPN, I don't know what you guys use to the draft, or Sleeper, whatever, one of those sites, whatever you're using, the players are going to be coming off the board typically in the fashion of ADP consensus consensus. And I love this because I've got this radar. When I see this, I'm able to track sleepers. I'm able to look and go, aha, value. So for example, I'll give you a quick example here. When I look up quarterbacks, okay, now we're getting deep diving here. When I look at quarterbacks, jumping out at me immediately is I'm not going to invest an early whatever pick they're going to be, second or third round pick on a Josh Allen, a Jalen Hurts, or Lamar Jackson, because I see a ton more value later. And you're saying, well, Joe, who's the value? We're going to get to that in a second. But again, like there's so much more value here. Again, where it depends on where Caleb Williams ends up. He could be great, right? Aaron Rodgers coming back. There's a sleeper for you. I'm giving you a sleeper there for you. Now, he's a little old. If I'm getting Aaron Rodgers, I'm getting him as a backup. Now, if you guys know my 16-round draft solution, by the way, make sure you guys secure the solution. I've linked it below. And grab a ticket to the summit, the Fantasy Sports Summit, the first ever and only summit where we're going to have NFL players live. Just like this, but they're going to be on screen with me. So you get to ask questions and pull up questions. We're going to do a PS5 giveaway. So the Fantasy Sports Summit and 16 rounds, you can combo them for an amazing price. I've linked it below, or head on over to thefantasyfootballaccounts.com. Secure your summit ticket. Okay. So when I'm talking about a 16-round draft solution, I always get a backup with upside. Last year, in one league I messed up. I had Herbert, but my backup was Jared Goff. Okay, I was fine. In another league, actually, surprisingly, it was a 2-quarterback league. I ended up going robust RB. Okay, and I had Jared Goff and I had Jordan Love as my 2 quarterbacks. So some people went round 1 quarterback. I'm like, fine. And I ended up getting Jared Goff and Jordan Love. Did awesome. So again, you can get the value at the quarterback position. So drop in the comments here below, guys. Smash the thumbs up. Helps the channel. Which quarterback do you see here that could be an absolute sleeper? Do you like Aaron Rodgers? How about Jordan Love outside the top 10? What do you think? Does Tua have a big year this coming year? Does Trevor Lawrence bounce back? That's something we got to look at here, because a Trevor Lawrence bounce back could be huge for fantasy. I mean, I'm not really trusting him, but no way but up from last year. Jared Goff, a good value. So there's some good value here at the quarterback position. And we're going to have to see where Russell Wilson ends up. There's a lot of talk of him getting traded and that type of thing. So, again, it's going to be very, very interesting. Who is going to be the quarterback for the Steelers? That's going to be interesting. They got some talent there. So drop it below, guys. Murray's a sleeper. Amir Lawrence, no relation to Trevor Lawrence, I'm guessing, Amir. Murray's a sleeper. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a big fan of Murray. I'm not a big advocate of him. Long story short, he ended up blocking me a couple years ago. He actually was saying something about fantasy. I told him to get a life, and he ended up blocking me. So, Kyler Murray is one of those guys that has me blocked, and that's okay. I like when they block me. I don't want to see their garbage. If you hate fantasy, I don't really care about you anyway, so it doesn't even matter to me. So, Murray could be a sleeper. Again, I would just make sure you get somebody a little more stable. I'm just not really a big trustworthy guy, Murray. Looking at this as well, is there anyone else that jumps out at you at the quarterback? And we're going to move on to running back. And I'm going to go through a sleeper that I really like at the end of the show here. So that's quarterbacks. Let's move on to running backs here. Oh, man, there's so much sleeper here. Sleeper potential. And as you guys know, I'm not touching Christian McCaffrey. The guy's coming off 2 major seasons, and it's very unlikely that the running back finishes on top 2 years in a row. And he pretty much did it 2 years in a row. So it's very unlikely this is going to continue. So in the comments below, give me a yes or no. Are you taking a risk? And it is a risk, because what goes up must come down. Are you taking a risk on Christian McCaffrey? Are you going to do it? That was a robot voice. Did you hear that? I got different sound effects. I want to see how they work here. Are you going to do it? Are you taking a risk on Christian McCaffrey? I want to know. I'm not touching him. I don't care. I was wrong on him last year, and that's something I'm okay, and that's something I can live with. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Okay? Because I avoided other guys that busted, like Tony Pollard round 1 last year, okay? Where's Tony Pollard now? Where's their beloved Tony Pollard sitting? Let's take a look here. My nose is itching here. Where's Tony Pollard? Am I missing him here? Where am I? 22nd. What happened to Mr. Round 1 Tony Pollard? And Austin Eckler is 28th. The copy and paste continues. There's your beloved Austin Eckler. And no, he's not a sleeper for me because I don't care for him. He was never that good. Mind you, he's going to be better value than last year. I don't got to spend a top 2 pick on Austin Eckler, right? Welcome to the party, guys. Now you're finally starting to see, this is why you guys got to turn on the bell, because we saw this last year. We saw Cooper Kupp declining. We said, do not draft Cooper Kupp, while everybody and their mother told you to draft Cooper Kupp, right? And I told you guys, don't draft Tony Pollard. Everybody draft Tony Pollard. Not people that got 16 rounds. People that got 16 rounds were aware. Now, again, I keep admitting my flaw, which was Dameon Pierce last year. The guy was primed for a big season, and he didn't do well. Mind you, I think Saquon Barkley is prospected now to go to the Texans, which I like. I like Saquon Barkley, to be honest with you, on the Texans. That would be wild, man. That would be wild. Amir's asking, will Taylor be good? I don't know, man. I think no way but up. I don't know. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be on the field a lot. I still got to feel it out. Kyron Williams here at 6, a little expensive, but man, if that guy stays on the field, he was so good when he was on the field. He had like 11 yards per carry. I like the talent, man, of Kyron Williams. And a lot of this, I want to do a precursor, a statement here. What I'm talking about is very early. My magic doesn't happen until I see the NFL draft, until free agency. I don't know who the quarterback is. I don't know, who are they going to get a new offensive line? I'm talking about teams in general. Are they going to get a new offensive lineman? What are these teams going to do? That's the big question. Until I see the actual NFL draft, until I know where the rookies are lining up, where the free agents are moving, right? Who the quarterback's going to be. You got these young quarterbacks coming, how they're going to implement. And then I look at all of that off-season, the training camp, the coaches' notes, who's doing well in camp, right? What's happening? What trades are... I look at all of it and I encompass. That's why I don't release the 16 round. You could pre-order it now, but I don't release the 16 round draft solution until the first or second week in May. That's when the first video comes out in the 16 round draft solution, because I don't know what's going to happen with these players. Like there's Trey Benson, rookie running back coming in. Where is he going to end up? Right? If he ends up somehow, if Pollard goes away and Henry ends up on the Cowboys and Trey Benson ends up on the Cowboys, he's going to be behind Derrick Henry. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't like Trey Benson that much. Okay, maybe that's not going to work, right? I got to see where everybody lands. So this is very, very important, right? I got a good question here. Drop your questions below. Again, turn on the bell, guys. I'm going to be going morning live. This is the dead of the dead of the dead of the off season. Like it's never going to get more dead than this when you're looking at fantasy football. And it's going to start ramping up. You have this big boost in numbers on my algorithm during 3 weeks leading up to the draft, during the NFL draft, a week after. Then there's a little dip. So how it works, guys, with fantasy is that you have this big boom August, September, October, right? Week 1, waiver wire, week 2, week 3, week 4, 5. Then it kind of starts tapering off. Then you have this spike at the Super Bowl, and now we're at this big down when it comes to fantasy. So if you're here, man, props to you guys. Amazing. Turn on that bell. You guys are the Lions diehard. And then during the draft, it starts ramping up. Draft at peaks. Then there's a little bit of a dip, stabilization. And then June, July, August, it just boom, skyrockets in regards to my numbers, in regards to visibility and people looking at fantasy football. So if you're here in the offseason, man, this is pretty amazing. I give a lot of props to you guys. Awesome stuff. Okay. So again, I implore you guys, make sure you guys do smash thumbs up, hit the bell, and we'll continue on with this conversation here. Jaden Reed is who you want on Green Bay. Notorious, that's a good one. It's tough, man. I really thought Romeo Doubs shined. If you guys watched, Romeo Doubs absolutely shined. He really did in the playoffs. So that's the guy I'm thinking. I think Jaden Reed has a ton of upside. He's definitely not going to be Christian Watson. But there's a sleeper for you, though, Jaden Reed. And we're going to have to see where that guy is coming up. Let me pull up the trusty sheep rankings again. Let's take a look. Jaden Reed, when we're talking sleepers, man, he's going to be great. And I mean great value. Where is this guy coming off? Jaden Reed. I'm missing it probably. He's probably somewhere in here. There he is. 33rd, guys, amongst wide receivers is Jaden Reed. Is Dobbs coming off ahead of him? Maybe he is, unless I'm missing. I think he's coming off as actually Jaden Reed, I think, is ranked by the sheep ahead of Dobbs. So I think Dobbs would be Dobbs is down here. I think he could be the one. That's pretty wild to see, man, because I'm thinking Dobbs. I could be wrong. Reed looked amazing, man. Good, great player, good in the red zone. Man, that's going to be interesting to see. And I'm telling you, you're going to get a ton of value, guys, here at the wide receiver position. This is why I don't invest. This is why I look at the top running backs and I'm like, dude, like there's only literally. Okay, let's take a look at the workhorse running backs here that are workhorse potentially. We got McCaffrey, which I think is going to decline. We got Breece Hall. We got Byjan. We got Gibbs, who is going to be sharing. Guys, I don't care what anybody says. Gibbs is going to be sharing the committee with Montgomery. I love Gibbs, and I hope Gibbs becomes the absolute workhorse. But at the end of the day, Montgomery's, you're going to see, you're going to invest a late first round pick on Gibbs, and week one hits, and he's your RB1. And then the first drive of the game, the Lions enter the field. I visualize it, and then Montgomery is there on the first down. And I'm just like, I'm going to lose my crap, man. I'm going to lose it because I invested a first round pick in Jahmyr Gibbs, and I got to see Montgomery's ugly mug when I just want to see Gibbs. I don't want to see Montgomery, but unfortunately, you're going to see Montgomery. And that's the problem I have with Gibbs. So again, we're going to do a deep dive. We're trying to focus on sleepers here, but when you look at sleepers, you got to take a look at who's coming off early and who to avoid. And again, I lay this all out. It's so easy, guys, with 16 rounds. So if you haven't gotten 16 rounds, I've linked it below. You can grab it. Use code SMASH to save. But make sure you guys bundle it with the Fantasy Sports Summit because we're going to have NFL. It's going to be just like this, but we're going to have music. We're going to have lights. Well, I don't know about lights, but we're going to have NFL athletes. We're going to have a PS5 giveaway. We're going to have special polls. We're going to have Q&A. It's going to be wild, man. We're going to have Tim the Bald guy should be there. Jimmy should be there. We're going to look at Tajay Spears is already confirmed, who I think is going to go off this year, predicated on if Derrick Henry takes off. So make sure you guys secure the 16-round draft solution with the Summit ticket below, okay? So, again, man, there's so much sleepers here, man. We're saying who, Joe? Well, get 16 rounds. But like Chase Brown, for example, could be the star. I'm not really sold on Mixit, right? Could be a star. I'm really curious to see where Trey Benson ends up. That, to me, is huge because if Trey Benson ends up on a team where he could be the workhorse, he's good, man. This class of running backs this year coming out of the draft is not that good. Trey Benson is one of the guys that's really standing out with me, as one of the rookies coming in. He might be a third day guy, might not be drafted. He won't be drafted on day one. I think he's going to be around, could be a late day one guy. We never know. I mean, there's a lot of teams that do need running backs. Chargers being one. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think it was the offensive coordinator of the Chargers says, imagine Justin Herbert. Was it the coach or the offensive coordinator, guys? Help me in the comments if you guys heard this. He's like, yeah, man, imagine Justin Herbert with a running game. Kind of taking a shot at Eckler. And then I saw a video of Austin Eckler, kind of ignoring the noise, kind of saying, hey, man, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just going to keep working out. And he's doing I think it was I think he was doing two arms. Yeah, he was doing a 2-arm pull-up with a 100-pound dumbbell on his feet. So Eckler, I appreciate, I like the confidence, but, there's a little delusion there going on with Eckler. He was in a good situation. He benefited from it. So anyway, it is what it is. There's a ton of sleepers at every position, which, again, I'm going to lay it all out, right? If you have any questions, guys, drop them below. Let's go to a quick glance at wide receiver here. And then I'm going to give you guys one sleeper at every position, and then we can wrap it up. But make sure you guys turn the bell because I'm going to try to go on every morning, except Wednesday. I'm busy this Wednesday, but I'm going to try to do it during the season. So, Quick glance at wide receiver. I'm telling you, man, there's so many sleepers, so much value. Like Addison could be the one because, I think Justin Jefferson is going to be on the trading block because who wants to pay him and make him the more highest paid wide receiver when he only played, I don't know how many, 10 games? What did he play last year? 10, 11 games? He didn't finish the whole season. He wants his mega contract where he wants to reset the wide receiver market. That is insane. So Addison, man, he could really be special this year. I mean, like really special. You got Jaden Reed, you got all these rookies, right? Rome Odunze, rookie coming in. Where is he going to land? That's really good, amazing. Jackson Smith, JSN, where is he going to land? Sorry, not where's he going to? Yeah, how is that situation going to look like in Seattle? Not where is he going to land? I'm thinking rookies. I got rookies on the mind. Lockett's going to take a decline. So JSN, man, you got to take a look at him. He takes a step up potentially this year. Pickens, who's throwing the ball? Watson, I'm not really crazy about. Sutton was decent last year, but who's throwing the ball? Mike Williams, I don't trust. Anyway, there's so much value here. Remember when everybody last year was telling you T. Higgins round 2? Do you guys remember that? And I was like, no. Guys, here's a rule. If you guys get nothing away from this live today, never, ever, I repeat, never, ever, ever, ever grab a wide receiver 2 from a team in early rounds, first 3 rounds, 4 rounds, because we're always aiming on the depth chart high. Does that make sense? Because if you went and got yourself a Higgins, he's not the alpha on the team. We saw this last year. You don't want to waste getting a wide receiver 2 in round 1. And again, it seems like they've kind of adjusted to this year a little bit more. If you take a look here, guys, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Amon, all wide receiver 1s. Now, there's a chance that Cooper Kupp comes back and, outdoes Puka, but Puka looked so good last year, right? This is the weird one right here. You got Ayuk and Debo at 10 and 11. I'd rather have Dell for value here at 23, with Stroud throwing the ball, than rolling a dice on who the wide receiver 1 is here at 10 and 11 when you're looking at rankings. Does that make sense? You're going to pay a early draft capital on an Ayuk or Debo because they don't know who the 1 is. Want to get better value. So again, I do all this work for you guys. I take a look at this and say, that doesn't make sense. And we were in the same situation last year when you're looking at Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and everyone's like, Higgins round 2. I'm like, no, it doesn't make Waddle round 2. No, Tyreek's there, right? You got to take a look and say, who's the alpha, who's on top of the depth chart, and get them there. Does that make sense, guys? This is very important. This is so important, okay? Let's see if there's any other questions here. You guys got to turn on the bell. Let's take a look at tight ends here, okay? Turn on the bell because, again, I really want everybody to not only smash their leagues, but have fun here with the live. This is what it's all about, guys. We want to have fun. We want to talk. We want to, rip into this Sheep's rankings because literally, for the most part, it's copy and paste, and this will not help you guys win your leagues. I'll tell you right now. All right, looking at tight ends here, Laporta. This just pisses me off so badly. I can't express to you how much this pisses me off because Laporta was a guy, but again, it's like part of me is happy that Laporta's on top because we called it in 60 rounds. I was the only one telling you get Laporta in all your drafts, and we got him in I told you, get him a couple rounds earlier than where he's coming off. We got him in round 8 or 9 or 10, and people were still sleeping out. They weren't even grabbing him. And I'm just like, dude, Laporta's in a prime position to succeed. Jameson Williams was missed a little, first half of the season or whatever, 4 or 5 games. We had Amon-Ra, right, where he's like, okay, he's the one, but who else is going to catch the ball? And then I saw, the history of Jared Goff throwing the tight ends prior. I'm like, dude, Laporta. And now everyone's riding Laporta. So it just sucks. Thank you, Casey. Yes, I called Laporta. I called a lot of people. And I avoid a lot of people because I do the work. I don't just copy and paste. That's not how you're going to win. Okay? So when I look at Laporta, part of me is pissed. I'm just like, damn, man, I can't get this guy. The sheep are finally aware. But that's the beauty of it because now we get to look at this year as the depth, because everything changes. That's the beauty of fantasy. It doesn't stay the same, yet the rankings are the same. Mind you, I still think Laporta does great. I'm just not investing a second-round pick on him or a late first round or even third because I got him in the 10th. The same thing happened one year when I got Mahomes the year he broke out. I got him in the 10th round as my backup quarterback. The same thing happened one year when I got Josh Allen and everybody was drafting Baker Mayfield that year before Josh Allen was who Josh Allen was. I was like, grab Josh Allen. The same thing happened when people were telling you Damian Williams over Derrick Henry the year Derrick Henry had a major breakout year. I'm like, dude, Derrick Henry is way better than Damian Williams. And a lot of people here in the live are like, who's Damian Williams? Exactly. And so people take last year's top finishers and they think that they're going to do the exact same thing. So yes, we're going to miss out on the Laporta train because I'm not paying that early. I'm securing workhorse running backs. I'm not going to do it, but it just sucks that they catch on. This is what the sheep do. They're always a year or two behind, typically a year behind because they didn't see Laporta. And that's it's not just Laporta. I just use him as the blatant example of how bad they are because he was number 21. If you were to look at these rankings last year, Laporta was 21. In fact, let me see if I have the magazine here. Is he even ranked here? I got this magazine here, right here in my hand. Let me just make the screen a little bigger here so you guys can see. All right, so this is the magazine, okay? As you can see, our friends here at the Four Letter Network, right? And I'm going to pull up, these are the tight end rankings, okay? As you can see, so it was ordered Travis Kelce, Andrews, Hawkinson, Waller, Kittle, Goddard, Kyle Pitts, Freiermuth, Evan Ingram, and Njoku. So I'm trying to find Laporta here. And Juwan Johnson's ahead of Laporta, Gerald Everett, Okonkwo, I can't pronounce. Greg Dulcich, Conklin. Where is Laporta, dude? Okay, 27. I see him right here. Now, this camera is it's a decent camera, like it's a webcam, but you're not able to focus. Can you guys see here? It says Laporta 27. Right there. Yeah, it's zooming in. There it is. Right there. There it is, guys. Okay, so this is proof. If you guys, some people question, like, Joe, it's BS, what you say. Well, Laporta is number 1, but last year when I was telling you to grab Laporta, he was 27. Remember, Greg Dulcich was ahead of him. Gerald Everett was ahead of him. Juwan Johnson, Mike Gesicki, Logan Thomas, Kate On, Jelani Woods, Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith Jr., all ahead of Sam Laporta. And it was just such a simple thing, guys. All I had to do was go in, take a look at the talent. Who's Sam Laporta? Okay. What was his college stat? What was his college, what did he look like in college? Okay. What is the highlight reel? Okay, guy can catch. He can run. He's breaking tackles really well. Okay, Laporta looks good on paper. Where is he landing? Okay, the Lions. Who's throwing the ball? Okay, Jared Goff, pretty consistent. Go back. And I look at, okay, well, Goff did pretty well with his tight ends in the past. Okay, X amount of targets. Not bad. Who else is there? Amon-Ra. Williams is going to be banged out. Who else can catch the ball there? Gibbs, yeah. But they're going to run. So I did all that work, right? And I saw this. I didn't look at the Concheapsis rankings and go, oh, Laporta's ranked 21. So I'm just going to go ahead and just avoid Laporta because he's ranked 21. I'm just going to grab him with my last pick or what? No. I saw the opportunity and I pounced on it. And I let you guys know that in 16 rounds. Does this make sense? I only look at rankings to give me an indication of where players are going so that I can capitalize on those sleepers. Does that make sense? I can go on for hours about this because I live and breathe this. I go on about this. But if you guys are new, subscribe and turn on the bell because this is going to be ripping. This is going to be booming come prime time in August. We're going to tear this show. We're going to go crazy. So I want you guys, if you guys are here, right? If you guys are here right now in the lowest part of the season, when I say the dead of dead, you guys are the Lions. You guys are the Spartans. If you guys watch 300, those were the best, the most elite Spartans. They were the toughest. Like one Spartan could take on like 50 dudes. It was amazing. You guys are the Spartans. You guys are the original 300. If you guys are here now, So it's very important if you're watching this now in the dead of fantasy football season. When I explain the curve, right? When it gets busy, August, right? Super Bowl, a little bit of spike, draft. Now is the dead of dead. And we're going to start ramping up. People are going to start looking at fantasy football, typically like in April, they start really getting into it. And then June, July ramps up. So if you guys are here, turn on the bell, grab 16 rounds. Make sure you guys are at the summit, the Fantasy Sports Summit. Tajay Spears already booked. It's going to be amazing. And again, turn on that bell and make sure you guys subscribe, and we're going to go crazy. So you guys are going to lead the pack heading into the season. And when we are full-time, I'm going to remember these names. We're going to shout you guys up and be like, hey, Wesley Sims was here. Who else is in here? Man, Wesley Sims is really, really... Notorious was here. Josh was here. Amir was here. Brian French was here. Henry Jolly was here, right? I'm going to remember these names when we were busy and there's thousands of people in here and you guys be, we're the original Spartans. All right, so let's go through this, man. Let's go through one sleeper each position that I like. Just jumping out at me on paper. This is just off-season stuff, off the cuff a little bit. Again, the rankings, my 16-round draft session comes out in... You can pre-order it now, but the first release video is in May. But I'm going to give you guys one sleeper at each position that I like that's jumping out at me. And again, this is going to change once the draft happens, once the rookies come in, once free agency, all the moves and shifts. Once I know this information, bam, I'm going to be able to spot out the next Laporta. We're going to be able to go through this, and we're going to find the winners, okay? And I'm going to lay it out in 16 rounds. So, quarterback. Let's go through this, guys. Quarterback. I'm going to give you guys one per each position. The guy that jumps out at me, he's not really a sleeper, but he is kind of, is Jordan Love. He's out of the top 10. He could be that anchor, that ace quarterback that you can get. You don't have to spend a third-round pick on. That is very important. While everyone's drafting Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, you're going to be looking at Jordan Love potentially. Again, he's the guy that kind of is jumping out at me right now. Okay, so that's my quarter. I'm going to give you guys one at each position. Now, there's a ton more sleepers we talked about a little bit in the show. If you guys watch the full live, talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to lay this all out in 16 rounds. You always got to get an ace quarterback, always, and get a backup quarterback with upside. Last year, mine was Herbert, and I had Goff. And in one league, I had Goff, and I had Jordan Love in a two-quarterback league where I got him for value while everyone's getting quarterbacks early. Anyway, you guys get it. I knew who the good guys were going to be. Okay, and Jordan Love finished 5th amongst quarterbacks. 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Pretty decent ratio. 319 points. And he's the 11th quarterback right now amongst quarterbacks. And, it's a good deal, I think. Looking at running backs here. Man, I'm going to give you one running back. Man, this is tough. I love a lot of running backs. But the guys jumping out at me initially here, there's a ton of sleepers at running back, mind you, but not as many as wide receiver. I want to get this out of my system here. You have to get a running back with minimal committee. And as you can see, there's only a minimal amount of them. Right? Christian McCaffrey, who I told you is going to decline this year. Breece Hall, I love him. By Jan. Gibbs is going to be sharing committee. Taylor, we don't know. Kyron has a ton of ceiling. We're going to have to see what happens there with the draft. ATN, he's okay. Barkley on the Texans would be attractive if he ends up there. Adchain's okay. Miami running backs I'm not crazy about. Rashad White is boring. He's safe and boring, not exciting. Again, as you can see, not many workhorse running backs. But a sleeper, again, this is just preliminary initial talk, is Stevenson. I think Stevenson, they got a new head coach, if you guys don't know, Jared Mayo. If you guys don't know who Jared Mayo is, former linebacker, Pro Bowler 2010, played on the Patriots, I think, for 8 seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know my linebacker stats too well. And he's a new coach, Jared Mayo. And I think they hired him internally. I think he was, under Belichick. But either way, Stevenson has come out and said he wants to be a 3-down back. Now, mind you, Stevenson was only like a 4th-round pick. He's not like overly boom type explosive, and a guy that he's no Breece Hall, but predicated on what the Patriots do at the draft, you can get a nice sleeper there in Stevenson as your RB3 potentially 2-3, and he could be a workhorse back. He's saying, "Give me the ball, feed me." So Patriots, maybe they change the script. Maybe like, hey, man, we're going to start going with the workhorse running back. If that's the case, this could be very interesting for a sleeper in Stevenson. So that's going to be my one sleeper I'm going to give you guys right now at the running back position. Moving on to the wide receiver position. And man, there's so many sleepers here, dude. Like, I can go on for days with value, but I'm going to give you one. And you're going to say, well, Joe, he's not really a sleeper. But last year, he was going literally undrafted with the last pick. We were getting him in the last pick. I told you to get him in all your leagues, is Tank Dell. Tank Dell's currently sitting 23rd right now amongst wide receivers. Now, I love Nico Collins, and both these guys could be the one. I think Dell has a little more upside. You know, he was banged up last year, still had put up good numbers, great talent, young dynamic. He ain't the fastest. You know, he's not like, you know, he's not the best wide receiver, but he's got heart. And he's a great route runner, creates great separation. He's a good player, man. And he's got CJ Stroud throwing to him. And I can get this guy for good value. He's like 23rd on the rankings. Wild, man. That's a good deal. There's Marvin Harrison Jr. Going to be interesting to see where he lands as well. Sitting 22nd on the Kinship says. Very interesting. And there's their golden boy, Cooper Kupp and Higgins. These guys, first round pick last year, second round pick. Both guys I told you to avoid last year. There they are. First and second round. Okay. So there you go. Tank Dell. Now, tight end. This is where it gets interesting. I gotta have to see what happens with the draft. I'm just gonna give you guys a tight end that's gonna be decent value, not necessarily a major sleeper. But I'm gonna go with Jake Ferguson here, sitting at number 12 with Dallas. CeeDee Lamb is gonna decline a little bit, coming off that monster season. I think targets gotta start shifting other ways. Ferguson had 102 of those targets. You know, unless they bring in a wide receiver that's, you know, on par or like, you know, rookie, like a Harrison or something like that, it's going to be on par with CeeDee Lamb. You know, Ferguson's going to get his share of targets. So Ferguson finished 9th last year, 102 targets, 71 receptions, 5 touchdowns, 177 points PPR. Jake Ferguson as a decent value tight end this year that you can get. I think Michael Mayer too is a bonus one for you. But again, it's all going to be dependent on how the NFL draft's going to fizzle out. So if you are new, if you guys, again, you guys are the 300, the Spartans, the Alphas, make sure you guys do turn on the bell. Let's get the snowball rolling. It's fantasy offseason, the dead season. We're going to keep ramping up. Make sure you guys subscribe, grab the 16-round draft solution, and make sure you guys get a ticket to the Fantasy Sports Summit. Tajay Spears already confirmed your automatic entry to get in with a PS5, which is going to be announced at the actual summit. We're going to do lives. We're going to have fun, live mock drafts. All the optimal players are going to be submitted there at the summit as well. Tell you who I like, all the sleepers. Everything's going to be laid out at the Fantasy Sports Summit along with NFL athletes. It's going to be wild, man. It's going to be a wild time. So, yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed. Thumbs up. Turn on that bell. I'm going to be doing these lives more often. It's a lot of fun, man. It really is. Again, but making sure you guys turn on the bell, thumbs up, and interact is huge for me. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for staying. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, man, it's going to be a big, big year. I appreciate you guys. Subscribe, thumbs up. There's some sleepers for you. Very early talk. Things are going to fizzle out once the NFL draft happens. To the Lions in here, I appreciate you. I'll see you guys later. Talk soon. I'm